is the Media Talks series with me at DBC at Detunji. The main objective of the Media Talks show series is to create a peer learning versus veteran learning platform where media professionals, whether you're in the broadcast, print, or the digital media as it were, can all come together to learn from each other. We all agree that the media profession, the media space, is ever evolving in the times that we find ourselves. And there is so much more that we can all, do as media professionals. And I want to help support colleagues in the industry to be the best it can be in the profession and to think of amazing ways, massive things that they can still do with their career. In other words, don't limit yourself. And every time I bring an interesting personality, today I caught a gold, not a big fish, a gold in the house. She is actually my boss. She was my boss at the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. And I must tell you that my story is not complete without this individual. I'm happy I get to say a big thank you to her on this show today. I get to celebrate her and I get to tell her that some of what she did has helped me to be what I am today in my journey as a media professional and as well, of course, generally in my career. I am talking about no other person than BJJ. We call her BJJ. She is Bolatito Janet Joseph. You're welcome, Ma, to Media Talks.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I've seen some of your shows, and I must say you're doing well. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Let me start with a very short story. I remember in the days when I was, still in the FRCN system, where my boss, BJJ here, would just walk up to me and say, BC, there is this thing. I remember there was a particular day she was holding a script, a storyline script. I think it's a stage drama. And she just said, oh, ADBC, look at this script. I want you to do something about it. And every time she does that, it is work that she wants to give me. And I'm like, rolling my eyes. I'm like, oh, guys, come again with another, work. But, I took that script and went on to, work on it. I was supposed to create a radio drama out of it. I went on to, work on it because it's a stage drama. It meant a lot of work, adding extra scenes. I went ahead to even record like a signature, tune that is specific to that, radio drama. I spent some money to do it. At the end of the day, I eventually won an award with that radio drama series. Wow. And I want to thank you, Ma, for that opportunity. You might not remember, but I remember it was work that got me to be celebrated and also got me to, be friends with the original scriptwriter and many other people. Thank you so much for always pushing me at the time.
Well, you're welcome. And I must say that it was great working with you because you loved to be pushed. And because you love to be pushed, you love challenges. I'm happy that you are better off today because you left at a time when nobody ever thought that a talent like Adebisi Adetuji will leave Radio Nigeria. You left very young and still very agile. And so when I saw all the works you were doing out there, I said, wow, this lady actually knew why, she knew why she wanted, she wanted something better than what we were giving her at the FRCN at that time. Well done.
And thank you so much for pushing me on and giving me a platform, a space to express and to shine. Welcome again to Media Talk Show series. I'm going to right away quickly do a brief of her bio of our guests on the show today. Mrs. Bolatito Janet Joseph, BJJ, started her career over 35 years ago at the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, known as Radio Nigeria for short, in 1987. Where was I then? Okay, we'll come back to that. She rose up to become a newscaster at the national level on FRCN headquarters, Abuja, a presenter of several programs on the network service of Radio Nigeria, a moderator of note, an interviewer, a broadcast media trainer, broadcast consultant, and a three-time general manager in Radio Nigeria. BJJ, as she's fondly called, is the pioneer general manager of Progress FM at Ekiti from 2003 to 2007. She went on to become the general manager of Gold FM, Ilesa, Osun State from 2007 to 2008. And then, of course, she came back to Ibadan to be the general manager of Premier FM 93.5, my own very station, from 2008 to 2014. BJJ rose through the ranks to the zenith of her career as the Zonal Director of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria Ibadan Zonal Station, where she successfully managed 8 FM stations within the Southwest Zone, namely, of course, Premier FM, Positive FM, Paramount FM, Abeokuta, Ogoilu FM Oko, Amuludu FM Ibadan, Progress FM Ado Ekiti, Gold FM Ilesha, and Asabari FM in Shaki. Mrs. Bolatito Joseph is married to her mentor. She's married to a man that is her biggest cheerleader, always pushing her. And we celebrate him today, Mr. Kayode Joseph, who is also a broadcast journalist. And the union is blessed with many children. BJJ is retired now and doing amazing things. She runs her own media agency, and she's doing a lot. We are watching out. Her proteges are watching out and still gleaning from her. And so I've brought her today to come and share from her wealth of experience as we take a look at the topic, secrets to succeeding as a broadcast media professional. It's not just enough to say, oh, I'm a media professional, I'm speaking on radio or TV. What is the secret to succeeding? Do you just want to be a media professional in the broadcast space that just passes by and leaves no mark, or you want to be someone that leaves a great mark doing great things? You're welcome, Ma, again to the program Media Talks.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's dig into it. I like to start with like reminiscing in a way. I remember you used to take this show, Thank God It's Friday. It's a live show on the Radio Nigeria, space then. And I remember that we were up and coming, and you were one of our mentors, helping me. Someone like me, I think you asked me to write scripts sometimes. And when you give me the 5 minutes to speak, I'm very, very excited for the opportunity to put my mouth on the mic. Yes. Now, I want to ask, many people have programs on air as broadcast journalists or media professionals. Tell us, what stood your programs out while you were working in mainstream media? I know of a fact that you had a lot of grade A programs. What stood your programs out? What did you have to do to make your programs stand out?
What actually stood me out, I want to say probably would be that I wanted unique programs, and I just went on producing, presenting those programs. I've listened to so many programs on radio, and I realized then that people were just doing the same thing. So I actually wanted a different thing, something that people will benefit from, something that will affect our listeners. And so it started from research. What exactly do they want? And I was able to put one or two things together, and invited like minds, like you and some other talents I discovered then, to bring out, to bring up some of these things that I felt could bridge the gap. And that was exactly what actually stood some of the programs I handled in Premier FM, in Abuja, that is on Capital FM, and of course at Positive and Progress FM. While I was at Progress FM, I must say, even as general manager, I was still presenting programs. I was reading the news. I didn't see myself as an armchair general manager. I
Yeah.
was always on the field. And you
Yes.
see, it was so amazing to people then to see me and say, a whole general manager going on the field to, because my first calling was presentation. And I
Yeah.
had the passion for that, to present programs, to talk to people. I wasn't actually looking out for fame because I never even thought that my, Benusi Michael, speaking on radio will fetch me
Will
fans.
become a big
You know,
thing.
and it did become something big, something huge. I didn't limit myself to, just sitting in the office, whether as a general manager, even as zonal director, when I got to that, apex position, where sort of me, the Zenith, where I was supposed to sit down and, be supervising, I still read the news in my station, that is on Premier FM. So, never relenting, being passionate about what you do, giving it, the best will actually stand any program out or any person out. And that was exactly what happened to me. For me to compile my music, it is special moments for me then. For me to put,
Mm,
topics on air, I must have researched.
yeah.
Because I used to tell myself, I say, that look, yes, I have the opportunity of out there that will also love to be on radio. They know better than me. They know more than me, but they don't have that opportunity. And so I
Yeah.
believe that they're going to assess me if I'm not doing it right. So I have to give it my best. And
Yeah.
for presenters, for you to really stand out, you don't just pick stuffs, from other radio stations and run with it. You need to do research, proper research. What does
Yeah.
your audience want? What do you want to offer them? Where can they benefit? What you are pushing out, is it beneficial? What is the gain in it? Because if you are presenting a program or producing a program and it doesn't have any benefit on those that you are, dishing out these programs to, I must say, it will just be like a wasted, um, wasted energy and a waste of time. So asking that what stood some of these programs out, I will tell you that it takes proper planning, takes
Yeah.
research, it takes proper production, and you get those that actually know how to push this content out to, you know, your audience or listener.
These days we see a lot of people, a lot of program are on air, and you are wondering, who is the presenter? Didn't they do the extra work? And I'm picking away from, what you just said is, as good as it was for you back then, it's still also something that should be practiced as presenters or producers. You talked about research, you talked about the fact
Yeah,
that you should understand your audience, you should create what your audience needs. You should do
audience,
proper
yeah,
planning. Don't just do a shoddy job, and then don't just
will be
say,
beneficial.
I'm a presenter,
Yeah.
let me just go on air. Now, I will come back to some other questions, but I want to like take it on from where you talked about the fact that even as a general manager, you were still presenting. As a zonal director, you were still very much actively involved in, either program presentation, news reading, and all of that. What do you have to say to, senior management colleagues in the industry who have risen to the peak of, their career or to some level in their career? How should we, keep continue to be relevant, even as you have moved from just being a middle line management to senior management? How can you remain relevant even in the system? Because some people just, go to sleep as soon as they become orgas, and that is the end of their skills and giftings.
See, for everybody that works in the radio space or television space, such a person has a calling, a first love. Whether you got engaged as a presenter, you got engaged as a producer, as a news editor, as a news presenter, once you have your first love, no matter the position you attain in life, Do not
Mm.
drop that.
Mm.
Still make yourself relevant by doing all those things that you started with.
Yeah.
Doing that will keep you relevant for not only for as long as you are in the business of broadcasting, even after you have retired. Because it is true that some people, the moment they attain leadership position, they relax. Ah, we have people that can do this job. Mine is to
Mm.
supervise. Don't limit
Mm.
yourself to supervision, because the time will come that those you are supervising will disappoint you. And
Yeah.
once you have left that terrain, not being relevant, not reading, not producing, not doing anything again, once they disappoint you, you find it difficult to go back to doing it because you have left it a long time. So
Mm.
it is better you keep at what you started with, and you will never be forgotten. You will keep being relevant. And I left Radio Nigeria in 2022. I'm still doing what I love to do.
Mm.
That is presentation.
Yeah.
You ask me, where do you now present? Well, I must say that I have a
Yeah.
radio station where I work, and that is, I felt, I have this talent, and I do not want to die with the talent. So I needed to
Mm.
impart. And so
Yeah.
I got, this appointment with the Polytechnic Ibadan. It's a school. They have a campus radio station.
Yeah.
And I not only serve as a part-time lecturer there, I also supervise the radio station, teaching these young ones the
Mm.
norms, ethics of the profession, what they need to know. I talk to them a lot. And so, if I had left that terrain, if I had left my first love, if I had left presentation, production, and some other things that I'd been doing while, in the broadcasting space, I'm telling you, I will no longer be relevant by now. But I did
Yeah.
not leave. I didn't leave them. I kept at it. I kept doing what I love most: presentation, production of programs, and also teaching people how to do the right thing. So, for those who are still there, I must say, if you had left your first love, please go back and grab it. Go back and grab it, because it is not easy out there as a pensioner. It's
Mm.
not. I need people to ask our retirees, and they will
Yeah.
tell you it's not funny. You may say, when I retire, I will get something. My gratuity is there. They will also pay my
Yeah.
pension, allowance. Let me say this to you: your pension allowance may not come until a year after you have retired.
Mm.
And when the pension allowance comes, it is so little. If you have
Mm.
been receiving like 500, 600,000 naira while in office, imagine you now being given 100,000 naira in a
Per
month,
month.
or some even
Mm.
collecting 50,000 naira, 60,000 naira. What will that do for you? But if you
Mm.
have,
Yeah.
other things, when you retire, I bet you will not even look like a retiree, because there's a way retirees look, such that when you see them, this person is retired, because they no longer look buoyant as as they used to while in office. So I must say, whatever you are good at while in office, please keep doing those things. Keep doing it. If you're a presenter, keep presenting. Keep presenting your programs. If you're a producer, don't let go. Continue your production. Think of other areas. Think of things that could make your program better. Think of even making your program sellable. You know, Begin to look
Mm.
at being an independent producer, whereby you can package
Mm.
programs and take to radio stations, and get some money. So that is it. Don't sit, don't be an armchair oga, or
Yeah.
don't be just a supervisor supervising and making corrections without having what it takes, because you have gone rusty. So please pick it up again and run with it.
Yeah, I love that. So you can be retired but not tired. Like you are not tired, ma.
That's what I am now. I am retired, but I am not tired.
But not tired. But not tired,
Yes,
because you are now, you have evolved and you are beginning to use those skills acquired, and you spread them out into other things, which brings me
yes,
down to my next question. I remember when you first resumed as the general manager, Premier FM, back then. I know we used to have producers and presenters in the studio. I remember you reshuffling things. You moved some people from presentation chores
yes.
to producers, and some producers that you thought were good with the gift of the gap, could speak well, you moved them to presentation chores. And there was a bit of grumbling and all of that, but eventually, the people that were moved, we found out that people were put in the round peg, were put in a round hole, and people could, express and even shine in those places where they didn't think they were suitable. How do we discover our niche as broadcasters and, build on it? Not everybody will be presenters, not everybody will be producer. Although these days there's a convergence of, certain skills and abilities. How do we find
Yeah.
our niche as broadcasters?
Well, it's very easy. You know what you're good at. When I resumed, like you said, I discovered that some people were not good at some points, and they would have been better off if they were put at another space. And I first had a discussion with everybody, and having this discussion was not easy because once you are used to doing certain things and somebody just comes in and thinking of wanting to change that routine, some people got agitated, and I told them
Mm,
no. No points for you to get agitated. Where you'll be placed, you'll be better there.
yeah,
And just like Mighty said, we discovered that many talents were hidden, and they begin to come out
yeah,
the moment they are fixed appropriately. So it depends on the individual. What are you good at? What do you love to do? It is for you to love to do something, and it is another thing for your boss to say, okay, even though you do this, I need you to work there. So if you're not good at that particular thing that your boss is telling you, you may not, force it at the initial stage. You can have a conversation with whoever is your boss to say, okay, why don't you try me on this? For instance, for presenters, we don't just push people to start speaking. We have a process, and it is what we call
mm,
due process. You
yes,
first go through audition. We take you through an
yes,
audition. We not only listen to your voice quality, we also listen to how intelligent you are, how versatile you could be, and some of those things that will make a good presenter before we can say, oh, this person has scored
yeah,
50% and so has the potential to be a presenter. So there should be a way of testing people's ability
mm,
uh, at some particular space. Because if you don't test them and you then just push them to do certain things, you may be pushing them to a wrong position. And by the time they get accustomed to that,
yeah,
for another person to come and discover that they have talent in other areas, it will be difficult for that person to change them. So, for instance, for individuals, you first test yourself. You first ask yourself,
yeah,
what passion do you have for a particular aspect of broadcasting? What's your passion?
yeah,
What do you like to do? So once you've discovered that, you can begin to test yourself. When you test yourself, you may not assess yourself. You can find somebody to assess you, somebody that is in the same profession with you. Listen to me, I want to read this to you. Do you think I'm good in it? Or I have produced
mm,
this program. Please, can you assess it? Is it good?
yeah,
Am I good on this?
mm,
So the moment you get that assessment, the moment you have been assessed rightly, I believe the sky will be the starting point. For instance, in my own case, I wanted to be a presenter. And it was while we were cutting. My then fiance saw this aspect of somebody who can present program. As a matter of fact, he wasn't even the one that discovered it, but he said I should come for an audition, which I did.
Okay.
It was his younger brother who said, this woman has the potential. She can
Wow.
present programs. Let us take her to Radio Nigeria. And there I was, taken to Radio Nigeria to be auditioned by Mrs. Bisi Kasumu and
Wow.
then Mr. Adebayo.
Yeah.
Okay, and for the first time, at first I wasn't. I was told that it wasn't good. The audition wasn't good enough. I was asked to come back, probably because I was jittery. So when I came back, I was graded well. I actually passed, and so I started working with the educational service of Radio Nigeria, and then later, I graduated to reporting market situation for Radio 2 before I, got engaged fully as a
Mm.
presenter on Radio 2, a Yoruba presenter, presenting Irentiwa, a request program in Yoruba, and Moyo Fun, another request
Oh,
program
wow.
in Yoruba. That was how I started. That was how I started. When I tell people this, they don't believe. Say, hey, Yoruba presentation. I say, yeah, that was how I started. But there was a particular day somebody failed to come.
Yeah.
Somebody failed to come to read the news on Radio 1,
Yeah.
and I attempted to read. The studio manager rushed to Radio 2 saying, who is there? Please, Bola, come and help us. So the presenter, the newsreader didn't come. Can you please take the news for us?
Um.
I was happy that, so I'm going to speak English on this channel. No problem. Gladly, I went to the one to sit. And lo and behold, I was still rehearsing the bulletin when one of our superior officers came and said, who is taking my news? And he said, it's Bolatito Joseph. I said, no, 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 she cannot take the news. So, no, 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 I would rather take it. And so I was sent out of the studio. You won't believe I cried. I felt
The
so bad.
studio. Oh, wow.
Yes, I felt so bad. And
Yeah.
you know what happened? I was now determined that English news, so I must read it. So I started working on
Mm.
myself, listening to radio stations, watching CNN Orwell Brown, Joanna Dwyer, and Ronke Bello, and all those news readers. I started studying. I started watching them, and later I was sent to the training school where I, was groomed. I went for my basic,
Mm.
intermediate, and advanced. And by the time I had done all of
Wow.
this, I was good enough to, start working on Radio 1 too. So I work on Radio 2, I work on Radio 1. And while I was still was it level 9 or level 10 officer, I got this offer to come to Abuja to start reading
Wow.
network news. So you
Network
can
news.
see,
Wow.
yes, it depends on determination. It depends on if you are determined and focused. I'm telling you, the sky will be the starting point.
Yeah. I really, really, I'm learning a lot and, gleaning a lot from the conversation. So, one, you talked about having passion. You talked about determination. And then also
How
what I'm taking
I
away from here
became,
is people, learning from
yes,
others who are
yes,
doing what you would like to do. You were listening to presenters on CNN, listening to newsreaders who had already gone ahead of you. And then, of course, you also got trained, which is something in the current situation, people do not think that training is important. So you
it
need
is
to
very important.
understudy people that have gone ahead of you. Yeah, you need to understudy people that have gone ahead of you. You need to be determined and you need to put in the work. You need to be passionate. Which
Yes,
brings me to two questions actually. Um, Maybe I should first of all take it from the need to be trained. We have a lot of people who are interested in the media profession right now, but not everyone who is working in this space is actually trained. Would you like to speak to us about the importance of getting trained? Yes, you can have the gift, which is fantastic, But what is the importance of getting trained, and where should we be getting this kind of training for the media profession?
Let me tell you, getting trained is very, very important because I used to have this school of thought. If you don't train them, don't blame them. And you can't
Mm,
blame somebody that does not have the training coming on air to blab. Okay? And we have so many of them right now. God has deposited these gifts in them. Many they have the gift, they have the voice, they have the confidence, but they don't know what it takes. They don't know what it takes to be a great broadcaster, to be a professional. You can be a broadcaster. Anybody can broadcast. We have citizen broadcasters. We have netizens on on the internet. You know, everybody is a
yeah,
journalist now. They see something, they want to say
yeah.
something, even though they don't know how to say it professionally. But let me tell you that being trained will stand you out. Once they get to be trained,
Mm,
once they get the right training, they are going to be unique. They are going to be different. And you know, you want to talk on radio, you want to talk
yeah.
on TV. Do you get? If you don't have the right voice, you may not be able
Yes.
to do it. But adding to that voice is
Yeah.
getting the necessary professional training. For instance, you're talking about training. There are so many media um, academy out there now. There are some that are using veterans
Yeah.
to train journalists, to
Yeah.
train broadcasters. That is one of the places where they can get trained. That is where you know that somebody has practiced for 20, 25 years. You have listened to such a person on radio and you feel that person is doing the right thing.
Mm,
Why not? That person can be a lecturer. And I want to say to universities, to polytechnics that are yet
yeah.
to engage these veterans to take it upon themselves to take them up so that they can
Mm,
impart on those who are just coming up. All right.
mm,
Today, when I listen to some radio stations, there is no more time check. There's no more signing on of programs. Somebody just
mm,
finished a program now, and they signing off of that program that has just ended, and the next program coming on, they are no longer signed on. And when you talk to some of
mm,
these so-called "I have arrived" presenters, they tell you you are old school,
mm.
meaning that they are deviating, they are
Yeah.
going outside the professional standards. So some
Mm,
of these things are still very relevant. For instance, I may be listening to a radio
yeah.
station. I don't even know what the time is saying anymore. And nobody
Yeah.
is telling me on radio that the time is 5 o'clock. Now you hear the
Yeah.
time is 5 p.m. They tell you the time is 5 p.m. What is 5 p.m.? What is 5 p.m.? They tell you the time is 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. in the night. These are the kind of announcements we get.
Oh my
You know,
goodness.
for you to get it right, you need the proper training. And some of them will tell you we are Gen Zs. We don't need all this your old school stuff. But let me tell you, there's nothing as good as old school. For new school to take some of the trainings of old school will
Mm,
make them better broadcasters. I'm telling you. So
mm,
media academy are everywhere. We have media academies everywhere. And we
mm,
have schools that are basically teaching media professionals. We have them almost everywhere. We have
mm,
departments in the universities teaching, media ethics, media laws, and all of that. So there are places where they could get all this training if only they can just carry out a little research. So that's my take.
thank you so much, Ma. So, I love what you're saying. It's not enough to have the gift, to possess the gift, to be able to produce content, present. You must get trained, because again, training adds value to you. It helps you to stand out. It helps you to,
Yes.
go farther than you would have gone. So now, which brings us to this conversation around being versatile. You know, I am of the opinion that the old school, in quotes, not old school, I call it experienced hands, really.
Yes.
And the young breed, the young, the digital, the Gen Z, the digital media. How do we marry the two? Because again, the old need to learn some of the new skills, some of the new inventions in the media space,
From
while also the young should not overlook the experience. So how do we marry the two so that we
it's
can
very easy.
better on both sides help each other?
It's very easy to, merge the new and the old. For instance, when I joined Radio Nigeria in 1987, there was nothing like the social media. No internet, no mobile phones, no nothing. So we were having it our way. And it was crude and hard then. But you see, technology has made things very, very easy now. With you just sitting at home, you can initiate an interview like we are doing now. Okay? You can use the social media now to promote your programs on the terrestrial media, which is
Yes.
good. Some old school may not be able to navigate that area. But
Mm.
you see, as technology advances, we also need to, pick it up and run with it. You can't say because
Yeah.
your days when you want to record, you take
Mm.
digital recorders. If you don't have that, you could even use your phone. You can get a laptop. So there, all
Yeah.
of this, the old school or the experience should also learn from the new school. They should learn from them so that they are not
Mm.
left behind. If you don't know how to operate the
Yeah.
internet, you have people around you, the younger ones that you will call, okay, come and show me how to navigate this. For a long time, Google Meet, I didn't know how to use it. I won't lie to you. But with time, I got one of my children.
Of course.
Please. I got one of my children. I don't know how to use this thing. And I was supposed to be a lecturer in a particular school where we use Google Meet. So how am I going to say, Mommy, old school? I said, yes, I agree.
Wow.
But please come and put me through. And he did. And today, I've acquired that knowledge, and I'm better for it. So the old school tools should not shy away
Yeah. Yeah.
from using this available technology. While the new school should take advantage of the older ones,
Mm.
that is the experienced one, to also improve on what they already have too. So that is my take on that. There should be,
Mm. Mm.
collaboration, there should be interaction and sharing of ideas between the
Synergy.
old and the new. Yes, there must be synergy between the two. Yeah.
Fantastic. And that's my take too. You know, I believe in bridging the gap between the experience, old school in quote, and the new, the young. To think that we don't need each other on the two divide is to be playing,
Yeah.
you know, because things, the new breed, the digitalists, the digital savvy media professionals must understand that there's a lot of that comes with experience that cannot be gained by just knowing and having skills. You have to gain
Yeah.
that from people that have gone ahead. And of course, if you're also practicing so that you're not left behind, you do not become irrelevant and begin to
Mm-hmm.
struggle, you must take advantage of the new, you know, the young at heart, and learn from them. Don't be too, you know, big, not to want to learn
Don't
from
be too
anybody.
rigid. Don't
Yes,
be
so
too rigid.
don't be too rigid, or else you'll be left behind, though. You know, so you have been in the managerial position for a long
Yeah.
while. And I know some people in the managerial space, or those that will eventually attain that space, will be watching this. You know, how should one prepare, or at the managerial level, how should we go about effectively? How can a manager go about effectively managing those that he or she is supervising or leading in the media space? What were some of your secrets to leading people and managing people effectively? You know, when you are managing creatives, it's very difficult.
Very
But how do you
difficult.
manage, creatives as a manager in the industry too, so that you can be effective and impactful, gleaning from your experience?
Let me tell you, I had this trick. There's no way you will work with me that you will not want to continue working with me, because number one, your welfare will be my top priority. I want to know what is happening to you as a person. If I know how creative you are, I want to take care of you. I want to be your friend. I want to know your birthday so that you can be celebrated. And whenever we go on the field for any assignment, even if there is no budget or there is no provision for, you know, taking care of snacks and all, I cook from my house, take it along,
I
and I
remember.
share. And I share with those who are working with me. I remember there was a particular election year
Yes.
where some people were asked to contribute money to feed on the field or in the studio that day. I didn't know about that arrangement, but I'd made up my mind that I was going to cook. So I cooked food for like 15 people, brought drinks, chilled drinks in the cooler, water. I made hot water for tea. So I prepared like 3 different meals for breakfast, for lunch. And if we were to stay there till say around 9 p.m., I'd also made arrangement for.
For
And so I
that.
got to the office, and then I was deputy director. Although I'd been doing that since I was a junior staff, even when my mentor was working at another station, I would cook and go and give them there on, a particular specialty, maybe during Christmas or New Year or when they are having events. So I just got to the office and kept those things. I told some of the staff that were on duty to help me to take those coolers to my office. And I saw people dancing. Hey, we give God all the glory. Thank God, we are going to eat today. I said, what was that? "Ah, we were told to contribute money, and we have already done so. But don't worry, we will eat that one and we'll come to your office and eat." And
I
lo
eat
and
this
behold,
one.
even senior officers were in my
Mm.
office to eat, and we were just discussing, we were just gisting away. And the day was just going without you noticing, because
Mm.
there was everything, you know, for us. There was food, there was, comfort and all of that. So if you make your talents comfortable, if you make your workers,
Mm.
if you bring them close to you. I remember also when I was working
Mm.
at Progress FM, they will tell you there's hardly anybody that we don't celebrate once you have your birthday. When your boss shows that he or she cares, there's no way you will not want to work with that person. When they are leaving, most times they come to me. The likes of Sheriff Quadri, the likes of Femi Daniel Zobong, and so many other people like that left Premier FM, and they didn't want to go, but they had no choice
Mm.
because we were looking for a better, opportunity to work. And so, if you make them comfortable, if you make them, if you allow them to feel human, make them know
Mm.
that they are human beings, love you for it, they will also want to go the extra mile. So you need to not always apply the cane
Mm.
system on your. There should be, yes, I'm not saying you should not apply cane at all, but there should be carrot and cane.
Mm.
When they have done something wrong, you can scold them, you can talk to them like human beings. And when they have done something good, let
Mm.
them also know that they are appreciated. Appreciate
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
and they will feel good that yes, they are doing what is right. So that was my trick. That was the secret then. All of you call me BJJ. You don't call
Yes.
me a Mrs. Joseph. Most times when you offend me or when you have done something wrong, I let you know you have done that. How? I'll call you official name, Mrs. Adetunji. See me in my office.
Then you
Once
know
you hear
that you
that,
are you are in trouble.
so that is it. You must find a way of bringing your workers close to you. Let them be able to confide in you when they are having issues.
Great, fantastic. So I'm hearing put a human face to your leadership or managerial role in relating with your creatives in as creatives in the media space. And this goes for just about any role or in any organization. Put a human face, apply the carrot and stick approach,
Yeah,
celebrate your team members,
yeah.
and know about them, know what is going on in their lives, and follow up with what needs to be followed up, and people will be loyal. And I think I will not forget the meals we share during political coverages as well in your office, ma. And I remember how
Yeah.
you tend to celebrate, you know, your teammates, the people you supervise and lead. And one of the things I liked about you, which I will also say here, is when you have a leader that who pushes you, who celebrates your ideas. You are somebody that when we bring idea to the table, you don't shoot it down. You tell us, oh, this is doable, let's do it. And when you have a leader that can, help the creatives under you express and even guide them and not shoot down their ideas, they're going to be doing so much more than even you imagine. And once your subordinates or supervisees do well, it's you, the leader, that is shining at the
Yeah,
end of the day. Yeah, you are
you
the
get
one
the credit.
shining. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I saw you doing that a lot with us. I enjoyed that, and I use this opportunity to celebrate you for that, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your love. And when you left, you left a very big space.
Oh
That
wow.
well, we thank God we were able to groom some other people to fill into that shoe, but the size was just too big.
And I tried, though. I tried to train people, though. I
You
don't know why
did.
people were not wearing the shoe. Yeah.
Your shoe size was size 12. But yeah.
Was size 12. Oh wow,
Yeah.
wow. My biggest desire is that when you are leaving a space, people should be able to fill in the shoes. So I hope
Yeah.
I can do so much more where I am now in other people filling the shoes, so that the gap would not
I
be,
trust.
too wide.
Yeah, will not be much. Yeah, yeah.
On
I
a
trust you
final
can.
note,
Mm.
man, how should people in the media space, particularly those working in the government space, be preparing for, should better prepare for retiring to refire? That's what I want people to be thinking, retire to refire. So how can people, just your advice to people still in the space, even if you own your own organization, how can you even, think of what if something changes? How do I prepare for the next level of my life?
When I was still working with Radio Nigeria, people would tell you, "Yeah, save money, save money for retirement." Let me tell you, the money is not there to be saved. There's
Mm,
nothing. How much were we paid? I'm not saying the money
mm,
was too small, but responsibility here and there. But
mm,
then, which you have, talents, your creative mind can
mm.
still work for you when you retire. I'm talking about broadcasters now. Can still
Yeah.
work for you when you retire. I said it in passing the other time that look, you can package programs, be an independent producer, and then you begin to sell your products to stations, radio and television stations. That in one way can help. You must have idea. For instance, if you are 2 years to retire, what stops you from thinking of what will I be doing when I retire? Thank God now in Oyo State we have so many media outfits, so many radio stations. And I want to say that many of our colleagues are getting, appointments here and there. But even that will expire one day. I got invited
Mm,
for, these general manager positions for from like 3, 4 radio stations, and I turned them down. I said, I'm not working
mm.
for any individual. I've worked for
Anyone again?
government. Yes, I've worked for government. If I put the time I freelanced with Radio Nigeria in addition to the proper service I rendered, that would be 37 years. of my life.
Mm.
Do you get? Not for
Mm.
me to
Yeah.
work for an
Yeah.
individual where you be pushed around. It's something that I don't imagine. I want to work for myself. As I speak to you now, I'm in my own
Mm.
office, and that is Janet Joseph Media
Yeah.
Agency. It's an agency. Do you get?
Mm.
So think of how to be
Yeah.
independent. You can be a consultant.
Mm.
You can be a part-time lecturer. There is a lot going on around us. And if you don't want to be a media professional anymore, there are quite enough. You could go and start thinking of acquiring a skill. Okay, maybe you want to acquire the skill
Mm.
of fashion design if it is not too late. How do you put
Yeah.
thread inside the needle? That can be very, for somebody that is as old as 60 years. You tell me to go and learn fashion designing now.
Fashion
That would be
designing now.
now. You know, báwo mo ṣe fẹ́ bọ abẹ́rẹ́? How do I put that thread through the needle? That can be very, very difficult.
Mm.
All that
Yeah.
you have learned over the years while working as a broadcaster in any radio, any media organization can still work for you. You have made links, you have made friends in high places and in low places. Do not delete their numbers. They can still be relevant. They can still be useful. They can still require your service. So, and you see, when you are in service, do not see that place as the all in all. You see yourself as a leader, you are the boss. And so, even when people come in to seek advice or people want to, patronize your station, you are so hard, you are so difficult, you are not making friends. You will suffer for it. So, all those friends that you have made, keep them. You can always fall back on those links, all those connections, and even the knowledge which you have acquired over the years. They can work for you outside of service when you are retired.
Great. Excellent. So network, collaborate, treat people well
Yes,
while you are in whatever role.
yes,
Treat people well, both colleagues and those you are supervising. And network, keep the links. That's like being relational. Don't just be there minding your business or
yes.
saying, oh, I'm the guy, therefore the world has ended. At the end of the day, it's the relationship that you are going to be,
This
is the
relationship.
relationship that you'll be
Let me
enjoying the
let me add this.
currency, later. So it's
Yes,
important that we
yeah.
keep the relationship. If I didn't have a relationship with you, man, now I cannot call you to come on my show. you know.
Now let me add this. Let me add this. When I retired in 2022, some of my junior colleagues that were already asking me, Auntie Kilefeshe, what are you going to do now? You're retiring. So where will you be? And all of that. Did you know that between 2022 that I retired and 2023, I helped in establishing 3 radio stations. All this with the help of
Wow.
my junior officers who were my
Wow.
friends. Some of them they are not even in Nigeria. They just connected me
Wow.
with the owners of these stations who were looking for
Wow.
a consultant. So it also depends on how you treat the junior ones. You may think that they are
Mm.
nothing when you will actually need their help. Mm.
Great. Amazing. I have learned quite a lot from you, ma'am, which I've been applying and I'm still applying. And it's just a lot that you have shared with us on this, episode of how we can succeed as broadcast media professionals. You have shared from your wealth of experience and a recap, talking about being professional at what we do, get trained, even if you have the gift, research, plan your programs, your content well. Don't assume that, don't take your audience for granted. Plan your program well. Put yourself in a position where you stand out and you give value to your audience. Relationship is your currency. Do not,
Yes.
treat people anyhow. And then, of course, when you retire, your gift is what will take you so far. Relationship and your gift. And I like to also add, let's start way ahead. Let's not wait until it is 2 years. to go.
Yeah.
What I find out that people begin to have a lot of tension, palpitation, on fear of the unknown. 2 years is like is too close to for comfort. So I would want to also advise that as much as you may not have much money, build your skills, build your capacity, and start thinking ahead. Build relationship, like BJJ has said, and start thinking 5 years too, possibly. You're already thinking of, oh, what else do I want to do with my career, my gifting? And one of the things I learned recently is that there is a second value to us as media professionals. There's a
Yes.
second value to our skills. Our skills, we have people, they are working in the digital space as social media managers. We have people who are consulting. We have people who are lecturers like yourself, ma'am. We have people who are consulting for media organization stations. We have people who are, there's a lot you can do. You have even space in the development space, like I am in the NGO development space. It is media people that are doing comms, communications, comms officer, media officer. There is a huge opportunity in that space for media professionals. So there is a second value to our skills. Let's not limit ourselves and say, oh, if I'm working in TV and radio, that's the end of it. No, you have to think outside of the box. You have to build your skills. Because if you haven't been building it, there's nothing that will work for you later. So you need to build and put in the work like BJJ, some people like BJJ have done. And look where she is today, remaining relevant even after retiring. So much that the Gen Zs are learning from her. I am still learning from her. And of course, she's also open to learning. You heard her talk about gadgets she could not use before. She's learning it so that one can continuously remain relevant. I want to thank you so much, Ma, for coming on the Media Talks show and sharing from your wealth of experience. This is not taken for granted. I celebrate you, ma'am. Celebrate you for all you have done. Celebrate you for all the investments you have put in people like us. May you be duly rewarded and even more than you imagine in these years of your life as you refire, not retire.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, Adebisi Adetunchi. I am delighted. I feel highly honored. Thank you so much for inviting me on your show. And you can be rest assured that you can call on me anytime. And I'm happy that I have people like you still, connecting with me. God will continue to bless you and your family. Thank you, and
Amen. Amen.
keep doing what you're doing. The sky is the starting point.
Thank you so much, ma. I feel honored coming from you, and God bless you too, ma. All right, this is where we wrap it up on the program Media Talks Show series. Our guest has been Mrs. Bolatito Janet Joseph. We call her BJJ. And you have learned a lot from her experience as a veteran in the industry. I want to charge you, it's not enough to listen. Please run with all that you have learned on the show today. Put it to work and see yourself attaining bigger heights, even in the profession, in this noble profession as media professionals. I catch you next time with another interesting guest. Until then, I like to say I am rooting for you. Beyond the sky is your limit. We are going up together to do great things. Catch you next time.